distance. As a rally, this gathering was more organized than expected. But it was only the beginning, Martin said. He promised to return to lead them into the demonstration at Metamorphosis City Hall. Dr. King was not aware that there was bitterness between Methodist traditional black leadership and the community's young black activists. He had not been told about this split. By the time he returned to Metamorphosis, the feud was near its boiling point. The planned march that day had been canceled. A surprising spring storm left Memphis under 16 inches of snow. Martin and other leaders told their supporters that the march would take place the following week. A few days later, Martin received another death threat. His aides were deeply concerned about how disturbing some of these calls were. Some of the callers resorted to cursing. Everyone felt depressed and discouraged, even fearful. Martin spoke about his own possible death. He and his people were worried, but he kept on to his mission, firmly believed that his work for civil rights, his presence was needed here. When the march finally about to take place, Martin's problems were mounting. He arrived late to march. He had been rushed by a car to the front of the demonstration. It was clear, too, that the march was not well organized. Martin saw several Black Power signs carried by marchers. The same young militant black activists who had been a thorn on the side of the city's traditional black community leaders had promised to disrupt the march if they were not given a key place at the rally. Martin was the head of the crowd when he heard the sound of rocks crashing through the store windows. In a matter of minutes, the parade was a peaceful demonstrators broke apart and grew disorderly, and out of the demonstrators as rioters. An excuse to attack them unmercifully, to haul them off to jail. Martin was shocked by the turn of events. It was the first time a demonstration he had led had become so violent. A press conference was called that evening. Martin apologized for the outcome of the march. He was clearly shaken by the brutality of the police. He also felt the personality responsible as someone used the march to express violent behavior. The following morning, he called another press conference, but rather not a timid, apologetic Martin. The press encountered the lion, according to the Ralph Abernathy. The lion roared like never before. Martin spoke at length of his belief in the non-violent protest. He was practically on fire with what made Dr. King completely different attitude. Dr. King, one of the reporters stammered, "What happened to you since last night? Have you talked with someone?" Martin replied, "I've only talked with God." The unrest of Metamorphosis was still unsettled when Martin left Atlanta. He was needed for the rest of his body, soul, and spirit. "I can't tell you how good it is to be home," he told Coretta when she greeted him at the door. "I'm so tired." "Come put your feet up," Martin, Coretta said. "I'll make you some tea. You want to talk about it?" Martin and Coretta sat quietly with their tea as Martin told her everything that had gone wrong in the Morphus. They can't give up now, Martin said firmly. You have to understand that people don't always understand. They don't have to use violence to prove their point, but they have to stick together. If the protesters begin to disagree among themselves, they'll weaken and must go back there. But why the Metamorphosis? Martin Coretta asked.
Metamorphosis.
You're so tired, and there's still so much to be done for the Poor People's Campaign. I know, Martin said, but it's the principle of the thing. It's just not Canada workers there. It's everywhere. The causes are our cause. Everyone's cause. Solidarity is what
Solidarity. That means like everybody being as one.
Solidarity is what we need to demonstrate. What will you do next?
They need to be a team, he's saying. We need to be one. We need to be a team. When we play baseball, we need to have solidarity. We need to play as one.
Okay. We're going to try again. We can't give up now. I have to go back, Coretta. As always, Martin was being guided to his conscience and his conviction.
Conscience. His conscience. You know what a conscience is?
What?
It's a little person inside you that talks to you. Like inside out. Your conscience.
But it would be Metamorphosis that Martin Luther King Jr. would meet at his final destiny. In Chapter 9, Hype into the Mountaintop. When Dr. King returned to Metamorphosis, he was met by two...
Wait. Oh, I'm sorry. You keep saying Metamorphosis. That doesn't say Metamorphosis. When Dr. King returned to Memphis, that's a city, Memphis.
Oh.
Memphis, Tennessee. When Dr. King, it's a city, Memphis. Okay, start over.
When Dr. King returned to Memphis, he was met by two U.S. Marshals who served him as a temporary court order to prevent him from marching.
So the police came and told him he couldn't march. A court order.
In a counter move, the American Civil Liberties Union hired 3 lawyers to appear with Martin federal court when he challenged the judge's rulings. At the end of his court hearing, Dr. King met with violent black leaders and promised to help them put together the cultural and economic programs for the poor in the city. As long as the protest...
So cultural and economic programs for the poor means what they're trying to do is they're trying to find the poor people jobs and food and things to do to become better. So part of Dr. King's strategy is he wants to... A lot of black people were poor back then because they're not given a fair opportunity with the white people. So you have to give them jobs and opportunities and skills and school and things so they can become better. Like, you know, they can end up going to Meadows or something, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
He instructed them. With this done, Martin looked forward to some rest. He felt the evening's rally at Mason Temple would be the capable hands of others, but this would not be. The Reverend Albany sensed a restlessness in the crowd when he arrived without Martin. He immediately called the motel and explaining to Martin what was happening. Without hesitation, the tireless Dr. King agreed to speak at the rally. It was dreary evening in Memphis. A steady rain peppered in the city, but this did not discourage the people who wanted to hear Martin Luther King in person. The hall was packed. Reporters were there in large numbers. The Reverend Albany's introduction warned the audience and set the stage for Martin's speech. Martin seemed tired at first, but by the time he reached the prophet,
let me see. What's it say? Put your finger on the thing. By the time he reached the I'm trying to drive, but go ahead.
the prophetic conclusion, the powerful Dr. King won people who'd come to now moved his audience as never before. While Martin paused, I know what will happen now. We got some difficult days ahead, but it really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind like anybody. I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. I'm not concerned about that right now. All I want to do is God's will. And He's allowed me to go to the mountain. And I've looked forever over. I've seen the promised land. I may not go there with you. But I want you to know tonight, as a people, we'll get to the promised land. And I'm so happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything, not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming Lord. Abernathy, like the rest of the crowd, was amazed by Martin's speech. I had heard him hit the high note. I had heard him hit the high notes before, he has said, but never higher. The crowd was on its feet, shouting and applauding, even some television crew. But it was a rare moment of the history of American oratory. Some of the file, along with Washington's farewell address and the Gettysburg Address, but it was somehow different than those speeches because there was eloquence that grew out. Eloquence that grew out of the Black experience.